Welcome to part 3 of the Guzzi engine investigation. There is some good news, and that good news is that the kettle's on. But I'm hoping that there may be some other news which is not a complete catastrophe. So as you can see, I have eventually managed to remove the cylinder head from the right hand cylinder. It was a bit of a struggle. It was catching on this stud here. Got the head off, and not surprisingly there's quite a mess. So we're looking down the right hand cylinder bore, and you can see the piston which is near the bottom of its stroke there. We'll just quickly cut and have a look at what I found in the cylinder head, and there you are. There's the exhaust valve, the inlet valve, as it should be. The inlet valve is closed. The exhaust valve, you can see that half of the exhaust valve is snapped almost in half, the sort of mushroom head of it. We saw the stem before, which I was able to lift out. The head of it has cracked, broken off, and has become sort of embedded into the cylinder combustion chamber. So what I could see when I was looking down the spark plug hole was in fact this part of the exhaust valve. It wasn't the remains of the spark plug. Still don't yet know what's chicken and egg here, whether the spark plug caused. I've got a feeling now, beginning to feel that it was a failure around the spark plug which caused the exhaust valve to crack, but we don't know yet. So we look down the cylinder bore, we can see that where the exhaust valve became dislodged, it's made a print in the piston crown. You can see there's a print and there of the exhaust valve, and there's a lot of shrapnel, swarf and debris there from something has been carving itself away there. Interesting, almost looks like, you know, the swarf you get from a lathe, but slivers of metal. I'm not going to touch it yet. Quite a lot in there. I'm not sure what that is. That is not, doesn't look like valve material, although there is half a valve currently unaccounted for, and that possibly is bits of the remains of the valve and possibly some bits of the remains of the spark plug. Don't know yet. The bit that I'm encouraged by is that the cylinder bore, apart from some light scoring which is normal in probably in an engine like this with 30 odd thousand miles on, there's no real damage to the cylinder bore. That is encouraging. There is some damage to the piston crown, as you can see, but possibly that is not. That possibly does not render that piston unserviceable. I'm thinking that piston might, and I'm cautious here, might still be serviceable once I've cleared all the debris out and had a proper look at the condition of that piston, and maybe taken some advice from others in the know in the club. It's an unusual engine. This is what's called a Heron cylinder head, which was used by, I think Moto Guzzi still use the Heron head. In other words, you'll notice that the combustion, there is no combustion chamber in the cylinder head. This is flat, absolutely flat. This top of the cylinder head is flat, and the valves are just also set flat. They're not in at an angle. There's no dome inside here. Combustion takes place within the crown of the piston, within that hollowed out crown of the piston. That's known as a Heron head. It was used on, I think some Ford engines used the Heron head principle. It's supposed to be more fuel efficient, but I don't know. I don't think it's used a great deal in modern engines. But there we are. So yeah, it's not as bad as I had feared, but I do caveat that by saying I haven't had yet I haven't cleaned everything up and had a proper look. You know, at the very least, we obviously need a new exhaust valve. The cylinder head and the spark plug area, I'm not sure whether that is serviceable. I'm going to have to take some better informed advice on that, but that's what we've got so far.